Victoria has recorded 11 new coronavirus cases today. New research indicates the state could have avoided the severity of its second coronavirus wave if it had locked down more quickly. Researchers have analysed the data on the two waves and believe the delay in implementing stage 4 lockdowns contributed to the second wave being 10 times larger than the first. For more, I'm joined by Zhang, who's a social professor and an author of the study. Thank you so much for your time. Just talk us through in more detail the findings of what you found when you compared the first and second waves in Victoria.
Sure. So we found two things. The first thing is the second wave is absolutely much larger than the first wave. It's 10 times larger. And it's also 2 times longer as well. Okay. So when the first lockdown was implemented, there was only like 70 cases in Victoria per day. But when this second lockdown was implemented, on the day it was implemented, it's about 150 cases per day. So it appears that we implemented the stage 4 lockdown a bit too lately. So besides that, we also found that between the two waves, there's a settle phase. That means there's a low transmission period between the two outbreaks. So this period is about 2 months. So in comparison, interestingly, I think Victoria now is in the case very similar to the low transmission period.
But didn't Victoria's second wave cases peak at about 750 cases a day just after it went into stage 4 lockdown? So doesn't that suggest that stage 3 was working?
That's true. I believe it's working. Yeah. It's just not enough. Yeah. So when I mentioned 150, that's actually the start of the stage 3, not stage 4.
Right. Do you think it's surprising or unsurprising, these results? Because as a nation, initially we went into lockdown to flatten the curve and boost ICU capacity, whereas when Melbourne went back into lockdown and into stage 4, it was because there was an outbreak.
Sure. So I believe that the implementation of the stage 3 was a bit too late, and we are not having enough time to compact the epidemic to flatten the curve.
So are you saying then that this October 19 date for reopening after this second wave in Victoria, that's too soon?
Actually, even after the reopening, we are still keeping the stage 4 restrictions for the moment in Victoria. So I believe we need to have some form of reopening to try to revive the economic. However, we still need to put a lot of restrictions in place. For example, social distancing and also the face mask usage. And more importantly, I believe the face mask usage should be maintained for a long time throughout the whole reopening steps.
Sure. So do you think a state like New South Wales, where we have had cases now after 12 days of no local community transmissions in Sydney, that there should be mandatory face masks, say, in Sydney?
I believe so, definitely.
And once Victoria does begin to open up, or even right now, did your work look at the track and trace system and whether it's up to scratch and is able to do the work it needs to do once Victoria reopens?
That's a very good question, though. So I think the checking is very important indeed. So if we can able to link the cases to the known cases, then we have a better control of the epidemic. However, I would suggest that we need to monitor the number of cases per day very closely. So this is a very good indication of what restrictions we need to implement. Another study actually shows that if the number of cases goes above 30, the epidemic actually go uncontrollable. So this is something we need to be careful by keeping the number of cases that diagnosed per day below 30.
Okay, so that's the overall case number needs to stay below 30?
The number of active cases.
Number of active cases needs to stay below 30. Okay, Zhang, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.